If you're an agent, landlord or developer, I'm going to give you the top 5 things to check on your fire doors to make sure they aren't silent killers. If you stay until the end, I'm also going to give you the top reason that HMO fire doors are failing on licence inspections in 2024 and 2025. And it's not in the top 5 inspection point. You may be wondering how I'm qualified to be teaching you this. I'm what's known as a qualified fire door assessor. That means I've taken formal training and an exam to be able to assess fire doors to ensure they meet regulations and are safe. Did you know all HMO landlords are legally required to ensure that their fire doors meet regulations and are fully compliant? The Fire Safety Act 2021 says all responsible persons must ensure that their fire doors meet safety requirements. And over 80% of fire doors fail their inspections. A few minutes watching this video till the end could save lives. Let me just be clear, this video is no substitute for formal training, but it will show you how to carry out a fire door inspection on your regular HMO inspections. While I'm talking, please make sure you like and subscribe to the video, it helps. Cheers. So the first thing to check when you're looking at a fire door, certainly for the initial inspection, is it even a fire door? How do you know this? Well, if you look at the edge of the door, this measurement here, this should be 44 millimeters or higher. This indicates that it's a fire door, it's likely to be a fire door. On top of that, literally on top of that, at the top of the door, there should be a marking or a plug. There's lots of different types of these, so get your phone, put it up there with your camera on and have a look at what it says on the top of the door. There should be a marking, however, there are some doors which either have been chopped down or were actually made this way where the marking won't be on the top. But 99 times out of 100 you should see a marking on the top, and most door manufacturers stipulate that the top of the door shouldn't be planed to ensure that this marking stays on the door. Door gaps are essential to fire door safety. The maximum door gap that should be on either side or on the top is 4 millimeters, ideally 2 millimeters. Doors can be planed to fit and be planed so that they close properly, but the maximum gap is 4 meters. It's not 4 meters, it's 4 millimeters. We can check the gap with a gap gauge. There's a number on the market. Let me show you this one. This is the one I use because it literally will give me the exact measurement of a gap. So we pop it into the gap and we can see that's 2.5 millimeters. If I do it at the top of the door, here, we'll see that's over 7 millimeters. That's an instant failure. This fire door needs replacing. These are available off Amazon, not too expensive, and they're a great tool to have in your pocket. This is an alternative one made by SafeLinks. With this one, it doesn't actually measure the size of the gap, just whether or not it meets the 4 mil maximum. This blue part here is where the gap should fall. If it goes beyond that, you know it's higher than 4 mil. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you what the actual size is, so if you're providing a report for a landlord, you can't tell them the exact size, you can just tell them that the gap's excessive. And all we do in this case is we pop it in the gap, we see it goes well over the blue mark, it's over 4 mil. If we do it here, it's literally well within the 4 mil. So that's a very easy visual, really cheap to buy, easy to keep in your pocket. The gap at the bottom of the door has a different tolerance. The reason for this is because a lot of floors are uneven and a 2 mil gap literally just wouldn't work on the bottom of a door. So generally, you can have a gap up to 10 millimeters on a HMO fire door. There is a little bit of a grey area on this because some of the regulations will say if it's a smoke seal, then it should be 3 millimeters. If you've got an excessive door gap at the bottom, there are a number of things you can do. One of these is raise the threshold, a piece along the bottom, you can put a strip in. And secondly, you can raise what's known as a drop down. And that's basically a strip of metal that screws to the door When the door opens, it rises up. When the door closes, it drops down, and it closes that gap within the 10 millimeters. The next thing we want to be looking at is the door closer. Now, there's a few different types of door closers, but generally the only one that is allowed in all areas of the country is the overhead door closer. Now, some people don't like these because they look ugly. Unfortunately, they are the best type of door closer. Another type of door closer is what's known as a Perco door closer. So these are Perco door closers. You can see on this door we've actually got two fitted. So these were fitted originally when the doors were installed, and over time those have not been strong enough to close the door correctly, so we've had to fit that overhead door closer, even though we've got these types of closers fitted as well. Unfortunately, there's a few issues with the Perco door closers. One is that they're not adjustable, and two is that they stretch over time. So they're not very good for fire doors, and a lot of local authorities won't allow you to use Perco door closers. Similar to that are self-closing hinges. There are some hinges on the market which are literally self-closing, so they are spring-loaded, and they will pull the door closed, but again, there's no adjustment, and the springs will weaken over time, and they're not accepted in a lot of local authority areas. So to be safe, the best thing to do is fit an overhead door closer. These are fully adjustable, and over time they will need adjusting on a number of occasions, so every time you do your inspection you may have to adjust the door closers. The way to check a door closer is to open the door around 18-20 inches, and when you let go, the door should close and fully latch itself. You can see from that one, it's closed, but it hasn't closed all the way. It's now closed all the way, so it needs a little bit of extra force, and that's fully latched. You shouldn't be able to pull the door open after it's done its self-close. If it doesn't self-close fully, it needs adjustment, and this will be adjusted prior to this room being occupied. So the next thing we're going to look at is intumescent strips. These are the strips that are down the side of the door frame, or maybe rebated into the door. In nearly all circumstances, you'll require what's known as a combined heat and smoke seal. This is what they look like. Smoke seal is the brush part of the seal, and they should be all the way around the door, including the hinge side. The reason for these seals is twofold. One, the brushes stop smoke from entering the room. If there's a fire outside of the room, it gives you a longer time before smoke gets into the room. On top of that, the actual strip itself will increase in size, it will expand, and that expansion seals the door and stops the fire and the smoke getting into the room. This provides essential time escape to be made. All fire doors should also have 3 fire rated hinges. Generally these will be 100 millimeters long. So you can see these are fire hinges, they've got the British standard marks on. We're also checking them to make sure we've got 4 screws in place on each side and that there's no leakage on the actual hinge itself, so that would show as black marks below it. These hinges are all good. Now to the bonus clip. Since Grenfell, local authorities have been taking a much stronger stance on fire safety, and that can only be a good thing. In the last year or so, every single licence inspection that we have had in one of the many HMOs we manage has required a fire door safety report to stipulate and to confirm that the frames are fitted correctly. Now that's not the gap frame to door, it's what's behind the architrave, the strip that goes around the edge. Because when frames are fitted normally, they'll be fitted with a gap between the frame and the wall, usually with a wooden packer, and then the frame screwed to the wall. So there are gaps all the way around the frame pretty much. These gaps allow the fire to penetrate the side of the fire door frame in a very short period of time. It's essential that these gaps are filled with non-combustible material. It can be something like plasterboard, glass wool, or depending on the thickness of the gap, intumescent sealant or fireproof expandable foam. That's a special fire rated foam, it's not the stuff you just buy from B&Q. Frames have to be installed correctly. This is essential if you've got fire doors fitted into original frames. Many Victorian or Edwardian houses have got really good door frames in place already. They're generally thicker than a fire door frame and in themselves will provide a good level of fire protection, greater than 30 minutes in a lot of cases. But that's only if the gaps are filled with intumescent material. A lot of fire door inspection reports are what's known as non-intrusive. This means that they're just visually looking at the fire doors and testing it like we have today. To enable you to have a full insight into the safety of your fire doors, you need to have an intrusive fire door inspection. Now what this means is the fire door inspector is going to remove the architraves and is going to inspect the gaps around the sides of the frame. That's likely to cause some damage. You may get some plaster coming off the walls, you're certainly going to get some decorative repairs to do, and you may split the wood as well. It's a necessary evil to ensure that your fire doors are safe. Without this, the fire door inspector will suggest that the fire doors and frames are replaced. The general cost of this is around £800 per door to remove the old frame and door to fit new compliant ones. So it's a costly exercise for a landlord to carry out. So please inspect your fire doors, get an intrusive fire door assessment done and ensure your fire doors are not silent killers. Thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers.